Hey guys, welcome to the Everyone NFL Week 13 Power Rankings Part 2. So this will be teams number 16, team number 1. If you are looking for Part 1, the bottom 16 teams number 32 to team number 17, you can watch that in Part 1. It should be popping up at the top of your screen sometime around now. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start off once it's over with team number 16, which right now are the Dolphins. They went in there with Fitzpatrick as their quarterback, and they played about as well as expected. They definitely didn't play. They didn't play as good as they could have. Obviously, we've seen in past weeks whenever they shut them out 24-0 that one time that this definitely wasn't their best showing, but they definitely went in there. They played really well against the Jets. And in my opinion, I don't think they really moved on. I don't think they deserve to move. They didn't really, blow my expectations out of the water. They definitely didn't play bad enough to lose a spot and go down to 17th. But 16th is where they are right now. I'm pretty sure they're 7-4, 6-4. I don't know. Anyways, they're playing pretty well no matter what. And at 15th, we have the Panthers. They went in there. Pros and cons in that game. We have the Panthers defense went in there and played really, really lights out up until the fourth quarter when they kind of choked a bit there. I think at one point they were up like 27-10 or something. I don't know. It was 21-10 at one point. I'm pretty sure. Either way, it was a pretty rough loss there by the Panthers. They are getting Christian McCaffrey back, and their defense played pretty well. So that kind of bounces out with the fact that their offense really just could not get anything going. 13 total offensive points scored. But yeah, the Panthers didn't play too badly. They're getting Christian McCaffrey back. They just don't move that much at all. And one of the rare time that we have two teams back-to-back that don't move. We rarely have teams that don't move, and two teams back-to-back is really weird. And then we had the Ravens who went in there. We got to see some Trace McSorley in this game. So some meme fans will be pretty happy. He managed to score a nice touchdown. But we should be seeing Lamar Jackson back up in this next game. Either way, their defense underperformed their defense played pretty well, in my opinion, actually. It was their offense that really did not play very well. They dropped down 2. I know, again, they had RG3, but he really was not getting any help anywhere else on the offense. And they dropped down 2 from 12. We're seeing kind of a self-destruction here. I think now they're, 9th or 10th in the AFC. So, yeah, the Ravens not looking too shabby right now. And next, not looking too hot right now, sorry. And 13th, we have the Indianapolis Colts, who do not move at all. They had a nice, pretty good game this week. They don't really move. They played about as well as I expected. Yeah, their defense kind of underperformed, but that's kind of what I expected. They're going up against the Titans, a pretty good rival who have a really good offense. Definitely, they underperformed a bit, but seeing as they probably would have dropped down if the Ravens had only dropped down 1. But the Colts, they stay where they are. They underperformed, though. Their offense played pretty well, but their defense highly underperformed. Sorry, I completely forgot who the Colts played there for a second at the beginning. Next up, we have the Raiders, who bump up 2 despite the fact that they played horribly offensively. I think, again, this has a lot to do with the fact that teams are moving around them. The Falcons are one of the best. You can see that in part 1, but I'm seeing that in the Falcons. But basically, the Raiders' offense only scored 6 points. Their defense allowed 43. It was a terrible game for the Raiders. Just ignore this. This means nothing. Just know that I think they're the 12th best team, and they did really underperform, kind of like the Colts. A lot of times, how they move does not necessarily represent what I think about how they did, which is kind of sad. But in my opinion, they're 12th after this week, and yeah. If I could make it to where every time a team loses they drop down, I would gladly do that. But a lot of times I can't orchestrate that. I just rank them, and then after I rank them, I put how much they move. But the Cardinals, they dropped down 1 pretty tough loss against the Patriots. Looked like they were going to win there. They were winning 10-0 at the end of the first quarter. I thought, oh, here we go, and they're gonna take this game. They're gonna make a blowout win, and then no, they allowed them to come back. I think I got outscored 7-20 in the rest of that game. They got a pretty bad loss there against the Patriots. That really were just pounding the ball with the run, and playing pretty good defense. I think Cam Newton had a 23 quarterback rating. So yeah, the Cardinals dropped down 1. They're not in the top 10 anymore, but definitely still playing pretty well, especially for a 6-5 team. But if they keep on playing the way they played last week, we're going to see them start falling fast. Entering the top 10, we had the Buccaneers, who bump up one. Yeah, they would have bumped up more, despite the fact that they played pretty terribly in the first quarter. In my opinion, I think they probably won the second half. I don't know how they did points wise, but I know that they played much better in the second half than they did in the first half. They had a rough first quarter, but the rest of that game they played really well. They kept it close to one of the best teams in the league, which I didn't really think they could. And they probably wouldn't have moved at all, but the fact that Cardinals are dropping back one also kind of bumps them up one. So they end up at the top 10, but really they're on the edge there. They're 7-5. I'm pretty sure they're still in the playoffs as of now, but anything could change. And at ninth we have the Browns. They are 8-3, and it is a big surprise thing. They're 8-3, and people still think they're not. They have a really rough schedule coming up, so they could really screw this up. But the Browns don't really move at all. They got a nice win there, but they allowed the Jaguars to keep it close. It was a 27-25 game, so they really would have moved up since they got a win, but they really shouldn't have kept it that close. So they stay where they are. But you're on thin ice right now, Browns. You almost dropped down to 10th, but. That wouldn't even be that bad. Now we have the top 8 here. The teams that you could basically say, hey, the season's going pretty great for them. In 8th, we have the Rams. They dropped down to their offense just couldn't get anything going. They were allowing the 49ers defense to do whatever the heck they wanted, and their defense also kind of underperformed. They were letting the 49ers run all over them. Now, their pass defense looked great, in my opinion. Say what you will, but I definitely think that they had a pretty bad run defense. So they dropped down 2 right now. I'm not going to overreact too badly from 1 week, but right now, the Rams definitely seem like one of the most explosive teams in the league still, even though they got a pretty bad loss. And yeah, they're at 8th right now. And in 7th, we have the Saints, who do not move at all. Taysom, I mean, it's kind of the same thing I was talking about with the Broncos. That really wasn't a game. One of the teams didn't have a quarterback at all in Kendall Hinton. So really the Saints, they don't move at all. They impress me on defense, but then again, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Saints came out of this game number 1 in yards per game. Only allowing 13 yards per game has definitely got to boosted their stats quite a lot. But the Saints, they stay where they are. Really could have bumped them up a bit, but Taysom Hill played terribly. Just I should put that out there. Next up, just outside the top 5, we have the Packers, who dropped down 3 despite the fact that they played really well. This had a lot to do with the fact that the top 5, I mean, again, the Packers, they played really well. And I mean, I don't know what to say. They played pretty well, but they ended up dropping down 3. I don't know how to explain that. Just know, I think they're the 6th best team in the league. It probably had a lot to do with teams moving around above them. And yeah, in 5th, we have the Seahawks bumped up 3. That probably knocked them down a bit, but the Seahawks, nice showing there against the Eagles. Kind of their defense really bounced back. They've been having some rough couple of games on defense, and they definitely showed that they're a much better team than that. And the Seahawks definitely looking like a contender right now in the NFC, top 5 team, and yeah. Just outside of the top 3, you don't get a medal just yet. We have the Bills, who dropped down 1. Again, this has a lot to do with the fact that there's some pretty good teams in the top 3 right now. The Bills, they played about as well as I expected them to, and they just ended up dropping down because the teams above them. Yeah, a lot of that had to do with the fact that the Chargers have been playing terribly. And yeah, moving on. The bronze medal for this week goes to the Titans. The Titans, they played really well against the Colts. They got a nice, I forgot the score, I think it was like 46-26, I don't know. Their defense didn't play as well as I kind of expected. I did expect their offense to bounce back from that last Colts game, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't move the Colts up or down that much, is because this is kind of what I expected. I expected, kind of be the opposite of what we saw last, 2 Thursdays ago, I'm pretty sure what it was. But the Titans, in nice when they jump up, they are now 3rd in the league. I'm going to get a lot of bad comments about that one. In 2nd, we have the Steelers. They dropped down 1. They almost managed to lose to the Ravens, 3rd-string quarterback and basically their practice squad. So not looking too good, though they're 11-0, and they play Washington next week. They have one of the easiest remaining schedules, and they had it on the easiest schedules. I am looking forward to seeing them get completely blown out in the playoffs. That being said, they are still playing really, really well. Just, they're definitely not supposed to be 11-0. Something's gone wrong. And number 1, the Chiefs. They played really, really well, really, really good football, and I think, it's been the same. It's been Steelers in number 1 and Chiefs in number 2 for like the past 10 weeks at this point. But no, the Chiefs make a nice move. They go back up to 1st in the league. Yeah, if the Steelers manage to lose to Washington, I wouldn't be surprised to see them out of the top 5 at this point. But the Chiefs get a nice win. get a nice, bump of the first place in the league, in my opinion. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to go watch part 1 if you haven't yet. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We post NFL content every single day, guys. So please subscribe and like the video. And I hope to see you in the next one. Or if you're going to watch the first one right now, then I hope to see you in the last one.